Hello, everyone. I am Dallas Goes to the Movies once again. I'm back in my chair to casually talk to you about not my tales of the theater this time, but we're going to be talking about my brackets. If you follow me on Instagram, I have been obsessed with making NCAA tournament basketball type brackets, if you're familiar, where 64 teams go head to head in single elimination and we see who's the winner. Last month, I did start with 2015 movies in honor of it being 10 years since all those movies were released. And my method is I look at every movie, I look at all their scores, IMDb, Letterboxd, Rotten Tomatoes, and then I throw in Metacritic in there. I did for 2015. It takes forever to look up all those scores because for some reason not all of them show up the same when you just type in the movie on Google. So what I did for the new brackets is just Letterboxd, Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb. I average out those scores. If there's a few movies that have the same score, then I'll go back and look up the Metacritic score and see who has the better one, and then I get the higher ranking. I'm just going to briefly go over the 2015 bracket. Thank you for everyone that voted. It was actually insane how many votes I got. Probably tens. It's weird to say tens of thousands, but it could have been 10,000 because each vote individually got over 100 votes. Some even got 200 votes. So if you add all that up, it could be 10,000 votes, which again is insane. But yeah, I'm gonna put the full thing up here up on the screen. The number one seeds were Inside Out, Spotlight, Carol, and Mad Max Fury Road. Of those, only Mad Max Fury Road made it to the Final Four. Hateful Eight made it in that matchup, which was the 8th seed, which was very surprising because it beat out Spotlight, Bridge of Spies, which no one really cares about. I'm surprised it made it that far. And it beat out The Revenant in a very close matchup. It was like, that was one of the ones that got almost 200 votes, and it was back and forth all day. I had to let it run for almost the 24 hours, which is the longest Instagram will let the polls run. Sicario also made it, which was a 2 seed, and then Creed made it, which is a 3 seed. The hardest matchups in my mind were Mad Max versus Ex Machina in the final four, or the final Elite Eight in the Mr. Orange region, which is technically the Southeast region. I thought that could have gone either way, but Mad Max pulled it off pretty easily. Creed versus The Big Short. I don't love The Big Short. Didn't like it when I saw it. Haven't seen it since, but I was kind of surprised. And then Sicario versus Inside Out was actually very close. That was only a 54% win for Sicario. Sicario beat out Creed in the Final Four to make it to the finals, and then Mad Max Fury Road beat out the Hateful Eight to make it with 72%. Not a surprise, and then Mad Max just won the overall thing with 68%. So congrats to Mad Max Fury Road, one of my favorite movies of all time, won the 2015 vote. And then we're just going to jump right into my new bracket, which is very close to home for probably a lot of people that are newly into film, social media. We're going to be doing the 2024 bracket. There were so many movies looking through this list. There were probably, I only could put 64 on the list, technically 872 math, because I did add some 16 seed matchups. I like to add those because it makes it a little more fun to kind of get a few more added onto the list. There probably was a dozen more that should have made this list just in terms of like social media presence and how hyped people were. There was a lot of movies, especially some of these 16 seeds, that the scores weren't as big as I thought they would have been in the way people talked about them online. So we'll jump right into that. Once again, up on the screen. Our first matchup here is Kingdom of Planet of the Apes versus Twisters. Two movies that I didn't love Twisters. I really liked Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, but their scores were pretty low compared to a lot of other movies that came out this year. I saw the TV Glow. I never saw. People loved it. I had to make sure it made this list. Versus Cuckoo. Bike Riders versus Gladiator 2. Yes, Gladiator 2 probably wasn't great. It's basically the same movie as the first one, but it was very big in terms of the year of 2024. And the Bike Riders was pretty solid. Had a bunch of great performances. No one really talked about it. And then Baby Girl versus The Last Showgirl. I hated Baby Girl, and The Last Showgirl was very good. Sorry for the sniffles. Allergy season is here. So Four of these movies aren't even going to make the major bracket. Let's get right into the Northwest bracket. I guess I'm just going to break down the matchups and we'll see where we go from there. So either Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes or Twisters is going to end up playing I'm Still Here, which is the number one seed. The only Best Picture nominee that I did not see from last year. I know, I'm sorry. I will add a little note. Like No Other Land was probably the number one overall rated movie of the year. It was a documentary. I know I should count it. I know it's important. I do not count documentaries. Sorry about it. But I'm Still Here versus what I say. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes or Twisters. That's a movie that I could feel like could lose in the first round just because a lot of people, I don't know if they saw it. Depends who my followers are. 8 and 9 seed right in the middle. Late Night with the Devil on September 5. I didn't really love Late Night with the Devil. September 5 was great. Could be anybody's. No one saw September 5. A Real Pain versus The Apprentice. The two guys from the HBO show that I can't think of because I never watched it, but they were both nominated for Best Picture. Best Actor. Kieran Culkin won, obviously, or Best Supporting. And so one of them is going to lose in the first round. The Brutalist versus Deadpool and Wolverine. There's a clear, better movie in that matchup, but Deadpool and Wolverine is a Marvel movie that people, I think, enjoyed, so anything could happen there. Better Man versus My Old Ass. I hated Better Man, but it was rated a lot higher in terms of scores on these websites. Wallace and Gromit versus Levelized Bleeding. Levelized Bleeding being this low as far as its scores went is just a shocker, but I think it'll make it pretty far. Wicked versus Babes. Wicked's the obviously winner there. And Flow versus The Fall Guy. I think it's going to be tough. Like, if I had to predict which movie is going to come out of this, oh man, that's so tough. I wouldn't be surprised to see Wicked come out of this. But Wicked versus Flow in the second round, a lot of people loved Flow. It's one of the best animated movies ever, even though there's no talking. Yeah, who knows? I'm not going to make predictions because that's impossible. Let's go to the Southwest region, I guess. Dune Part 2 is your number one seed here, and actually the inspiration for most things on this bracket. It's one of the biggest blockbuster movies ever. I did put some of the Dune font in here. It is going to end up playing either I Saw the TV Glow or Cuckoo in the first round as the 16 seed. Unless there's some I Saw the TV Glow fanatics that find my page, I think Dune Part 2 will beat them easily. Nosferatu versus Small Things Like These. Nosferatu should easily win and make a pretty interesting matchup in the second round with Dune. Nickel Boys versus Piece by Piece. Nickel Boys is one of the most beautiful looking films ever. It should make it pretty far, maybe, but not past Alien Romulus or Thelma, which is the next matchup, the 4 versus 13. Sorry, Thelma, I know you're ranked higher, but people loved Alien Romulus. Inside Out 2 versus Heretic. Inside Out 2 is a very good movie. Heretic was a lot more talked about and revered, I think, except didn't love the ending. Conclave versus Woman of the Hour. Weird matchup where Conclave should easily win. Conclave might be the one to make it out of this round to face the Dune Part 2 in the Elite Eight. Strange Darling versus Hitman. Hitman's a much better movie. Strange Darling was just a darling on the year, so who knows there. Seed of the Sacred Fig is the number 2 seed. Another movie I did not see, ranked and rated and scored very high, versus Smile 2, which was just a horror. I don't even know what word I'm looking for. Just a masterpiece in terms of like the way it was talked about. Very good movie. I would like to see Smile 2 make it a little bit further. Maybe that in a matchup versus Strange Darling in the second round would make things super interesting. Let's move on to the Northeast seed or region or whatever I'm trying to say, where the Bike Riders and Gladiator 2 will be your 16 seed against the Wild Robot, the highest rated animated movie of the year. The Wild Robot will probably win whatever matchup it gets. Quiet Place Day 1 versus Monkey Man in your 8 versus 9. I liked Monkey Man a lot more. Furiosa versus The Outrun. I did not see The Outrun. Furiosa's beloved and probably going to make it very far, even though I didn't care for it. but my cat right here is named Furiosa, which is very funny. History Daughters of Civil War. It's crazy Civil War was kind of scored this low. I had to regretfully put it as a 13 seed, even though I think it may have been my favorite movie of last year, of 2024. We'll see what happens. Challengers versus The Fire Inside. Challengers is going to destroy it. Rebel Ridge versus Snack Shack. I heard Snack Shack was great. Rebel Ridge is a fantastic movie that no one talked about. It is on Netflix, and you should watch it as soon as you can. It's from the same guy who made Blue Ruin and Green Room. Not as brutal, but still just as gripping and good. We Live in Time versus Bird. We Live in Time being ranked this low was a shock. It honestly should have been ranked a lot lower. It almost didn't make the list if I would have included some other films here, documentaries and the like. But it had to make the list. It was actually going to be in a matchup against Anora in the first round, and I just couldn't let that happen. Did not see Bird. Memoir versus Snail and Speak No Evil is your final matchup in this region. Memoir of a Snail is just painfully and utterly hilarious and the weirdest animated film you're ever going to see, but it's fantastic. And I hope it makes it far. Southeast region is your final region where Baby Girl versus The Last Showgirl. My apologies, I cannot breathe. Are going to go up against Sing Sing, just one of the best movies probably ever made. In the world's opinion, it's very good. Will it make it very far? I don't know. Juror number 2 versus Oddity. Juror number 2, one of Clint Eastwood's best movies that didn't feel at all like a Clint Eastwood movie. We'll see what happens up against Oddity, which was a movie that a lot of horror fans loved. Transformers 1, an animated film, versus Sonic 3, so 2 kids' movies. Transformers 1 should beat this out easily. Anora versus Young Woman in the Sea. This was the matchup that was going to be We Live in Time. But Anora should knock it out of the park and make it pretty far. An Anora versus Sing Sing matchup would be kind of brutal. A Different Man versus A Complete Unknown. Didn't love A Different Man, but obviously everyone loved Sebastian Stan in it, so we'll see what happens there. I'm going to keep saying that. DD versus The Order. Loved DD. The Order is one of my favorite movies of last year, probably top 2 or 3. I hope it makes it far, but this isn't on me. I do vote in my own polls here on Instagram, but it's up to everyone else to see what happens. The Substance versus The First Element. The Substance is going to be making it past that, is my guess. And then Kneecap versus Longlegs. Kneecap being the number 2 seed. I did not see that movie actually until a few months ago, so after 2024. One of the best musical movies ever, and it's crazy. It's the real group that's acting in this movie, and I love seeing Michael Fassbender in it. Longlegs, I still love it. People act like they didn't love it just because of the ending, but I think Michael Monroe is great in it. It's actually insane how many good movies are in here, like The Substance, Longlegs, Kneecap, Anora, Sing Sing. Two of those movies was not even going to make it to the Elite 8, or I guess 3 or 4. I said more than 4. Anyway, that's the bracket. I'll put the full bracket up here. Hopefully it doesn't look too crowded with all the graphics of the characters from the movies on here. I thought it looked really cool. I'm trying to make things look better. Yeah, you're all going to see this bracket before Instagram sees it. It's going to be up a few days after I post this. So thanks for voting. Thanks for the dozen of you that watched this video. And yeah, I'll keep making these probably once a month. I have a few other ideas. I already have one created that'll probably come out sometime in October. So yeah, thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you at the movies.